Joining us now is Sheiton Atigarin with stories trending around the world. Good morning, Sheiton.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. It's good to see you.
Hi.
Good morning,
Hi.
Viva.
Good
You
morning
look
with the
absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you, so do
And
you.
of course, Rifai, good morning. My fave. How are
Yeah,
you?
Shaitan, the yam and egg sauce.
Don't do this to me on air. Let's kick off what's trending. Good morning to our viewers. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appointed new heads for Nigeria's intelligence agencies following the resignation of their predecessors. Mohammed has been named the new Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, replacing Ahmed Rufai Abubakar, who resigned over the weekend after serving under 2 administrations. Adeola Ajayi has also been appointed the Department of State Services Director General. Ajayi, a career intelligence officer, will replace Yusuf Bichi, who was appointed by former President Muhammadu Buhari in 2018. Ajayi has held several key positions nationwide, including State Director in Bauchi, Enugu, Bayelsa, Rivers, and Kogi. His most recent role was Assistant Director General of the DSS. As news of Ajayi's appointment was confirmed, a video of DSS staff seen hugging, shaking hands, and dancing at their office has gone viral. However, Mike Ejiofor, former director of the Department of State Services and president of the National Institute for Security Studies, has confirmed the status of the video to be indeed old. So I thought it was important to actually take this because just before I came on, I was going to actually come on what's trending and take it as a trending video, but I listened to that, and that just speaks to how sometimes misinformation can go a long way. So I just thought it was important, and also to even segue to a story that I took yesterday about Enugu Governor Peter Amba, who was seen in a church, refusing to go to the front. I have now been told that that video is actually not a new video. It actually happened a while ago. So I thought it's important to come back on air and let our viewers know that it was an old video. However, the lessons from that video are evergreen, regardless of whether he was a governor or not. It's important for our leaders to be able to look at that and hopefully learn a lesson. Dr. Ruben.
Well, the issue about the humility of Governor Mba, I think the relevance of the subject itself, about people being humble in the presence of God, or even in other circumstances, I think whether the video is old or not, that video will speak at all times to that particular subject. You know that folk saying, that when you go to an event, you don't go and sit in front. You take a back seat and you wait to be invited. But so just this general lesson is about humility.
Yes.
As for the DSS that is living, well, look, Nigerians are very good at, embarrassing people, ridiculing them. Some people have been saying, oh, the officials were dancing because Yusuf Bichi is living. I think Mike Ejiofor made the relevant point that Nigerians owe anybody who has served this country a debt of gratitude. He was Director General of the DSS. He was recalled from retirement and given an opportunity to serve his country again. Whatever may have been the issues in terms of what I was driving at when we were conversing with Mike Ejiofor, in terms of the difference between the old SSS, as that body was known, and the new DSS. Whatever may have been the omissions, I think that will be taken care of by the fact that Mike Ejiofor, who seems to know Tosin Ajayi, who is now the new Adeola Ajayi, who is now the new DG DSS, says he's a professional. So what we will expect is, there will be greater professionalism in terms of, operations, and that there will be better relations in terms of citizen engagement, so that people don't think that, oh, the DSS is something, that is against them. No, it's an important unit of state. But how you manage citizen engagement and expectations will be the new task before the new Director General of the DSS. As for Ambassador Mohammed, well, after a fashion, the Nigerian Intelligence Agency doesn't work in the open. It's an intelligence agency. They support the government with information. The president is briefed just as the DSS does on a daily basis about security developments in the country. Except when you have the appointment of the Director General, you hardly will ever know who is working for the Nigerian Intelligence Agency. That will tell where you stay. There may be an NIA officer there, but he will not come to you and say, I work for the NIA. That's not how the state works. So for both the DSS and the NIA, they have a responsibility, a primary responsibility to protect the Nigerian state and to do so in concert with other security agencies. Because in this country, we've had the interagency rivalry and all of that, but we expect the highest standards of professionalism as they work for the Nigerian state. State qua state, that's their objective.
Very well said, Dr. Abati. Vimbai?
You know, I think we need to be careful about what we do online because of course, there is freedom of speech and there's freedom of expression, and we can post, we can tweet, we can catch crews and all of that. But I think we've come to a time where we need to be careful and to educate ourselves thoroughly about the do's and don'ts. Because one day you will end up coming across somebody who won't, who won't hesitate to call a lawyer, who won't hesitate to take the necessary action. So, with some of these videos, I know people see them, people are quick to retweet, people are quick to add them to their timelines, but it's not all cruise, not everything is cruise. So I think it's also important that, as we discuss what's trending, we also talk about, the sanctity of our behavior online and the fact that, and it's not just here in Nigeria, it's globally. That's why Elon Musk is going through what he's going through with X. That's why there's drama with the platform Telegram. It's not a Nigerian issue. I want to make that clear. It's a global issue that's happening with online behavior and the very, very, very fine line between where my freedom ends and yours begins, because your freedom ends where my nose begins, right? Yeah. So I think this is what that highlighted to me, is that lately, not just lately, but we hop on a lot of trends because, of cruise. Meanwhile, you have to be very careful what you attach to your digital footprint.
Rufai, very quickly.
See, truth has to be said. I'm an advocate of social media. Again, it's not social media. It is about the people that put these videos up on social media for their own sinister benefit. It's not today we've had fake news. Dr. Abati, I remember the day we were talking about the fact that the government of Nigeria was printing fake copies of Tell magazine in this country during the pro-democratic struggle to be able to disparage people in this country. So it's not today. And all elements of states have even used this social media to be able to peddle fake stories and all sorts of propaganda. Mm-hmm. We know too many times how even the likes of Mr. Bayon Onuga have had to delete most of his messaging out there or his tweets when he sees that there are problems with it. It's not about the platform. What it's about is about the people. So how can we educate people to do a lot better? We forget in a hurry that the man that one of the biggest journalism prizes is named after today, Joseph Pulitzer, the Pulitzer Prize. It was when Pulitzer was about to die, and he looked around and he said, what would they remember me for? They said, Pulitzer, you are the father of yellow journalism, fake news. He said, let me change that. Then most of the money he made, he endowed the Pulitzer Prize. Today, Pulitzer has been given for quality journalism. But Pulitzer himself was known for fake news. So it's about the people. Yeah. And that's what we must consider. Do not do things with any sinister motive. This is what was done to be able to deride Bichi. You might have your grasp with Bichi, but it's not about that. Stick to the facts of the matter. These two new people, I'm happy that for this time, you have people coming within the ranks and growing within the ranks. And I hope this is also going to improve the DSS. But apart from that video, I have also communicated with a lot of people that there are lots of welfare issues. The welfare can actually, and this is not based on this video, the welfare can actually be improved a whole lot more in the DSS. Also, there's the case of interagency rivalry that should be worked on. There's also the case of funding and budgetary allocation that also should be worked on. I mean, these are things to be able to improve the services of the DSS. But all in all, the DSS does a good job. And there's also a need for more transparency, even with the DSS, as regards, giving information to the people if some people have been arrested or not. So we can only wish them well, and also the NIA.
All right, then, wish them the very best. Moving on now to our next story. The Minister of Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy Ohaneye, has condemned a young woman for exploiting her mentally unstable mother for personal gain in a viral video. The video, which has sparked outrage online, shows the young woman filming and engaging with her mother, who appears visibly unwell and unkempt. The young lady, a content creator who did not give her name in the video, introduced the mentally unstable woman as her mother and said she had become mentally ill after her father's death, adding that her mom initially was taking care of herself and her other siblings, but things began to deteriorate with her mental health. The minister stated that her ministry condemns the exploitation of vulnerable individuals, especially those struggling with mental health issues. Let's take a quick look at the video, then come back, take some tweets and discuss.
Like face, eban face. Tano to ta de boko inside eben ka. Kenende mmadụ. Like he kenenya. Onya anu anu eba.
Well, let's take some tweets, listen to what the people are saying. The first tweet there reads, "That is not exploitation. What she did not bad. She needs help to look after her mom when the government couldn't help. It's part of government's responsibilities to look after mentally challenged people." The next tweet there reads, "I don't see anything wrong here. I believe she may be lacking the financial resources to improve her mother's situation, which is why she's choosing to highlight it on camera." And the last tweet there reads, "I didn't see anything wrong with the video. She's her mother and not a random stranger. Meanwhile, you as the minister can take up this matter and see how you can help this woman." Well, I really was looking for tweets to see if there was anybody out there that was, supporting the statement that the Minister of Women Affairs put out. But everybody seemed to be sympathizing with the mother and seeing how the Ministry of Women Affairs can actually help her as opposed to condemning her actions. Dr. Abati.
Okay, well, to speak in general terms, what the Minister of Women Affairs did was to condemn the lady. She may not have had full information about the context, about the motive, but the point that Mrs. Uju Kennedy made is valid. That in this country, people exploit vulnerable people, whether it's a mother or not. It's a general pattern that when people are vulnerable, we exploit them, whether they are people who are physically challenged or persons who are mentally challenged. And she was saying that people who have mental illness cases should be treated with understanding and compassion. Now, that basic point that the Minister of Women Affairs made, you cannot controvert it. It's important. Because even the legislative framework for the treatment of mentally challenged persons is one of the major problems that we have, in this country. We're failing to move away from the Lunacy Act of the colonial period of 1958. And all the other attempts since then has not led to any significant improvement. So she's right about that. Second point, the Minister of Women Affairs is also right to say, look, the ministry is going to provide care for the woman in the video. And I hope that, the Minister of Women Affairs will not just say this, but will take consequential steps to provide that support that she has promised. And that's where she and, the other people who have commented, that's where, they will seem to have come together, that care must be provided for the woman. A lot happens in this country. Some people go through trauma and, they have, mental issues. The third part of it is that the lady herself was described as a content creator. Now, it's one of the things we've seen around here. People tend to go to any extent at all to gain clicks. They call it clickbaiting, to gain attention. So maybe it's from that angle that the minister was coming from to say, oh, this looks like exploitation for personal gain. But the more important part of it is that this information is now in the public domain. The Ministry of Women Affairs has promised to provide assistance. They should follow it up. But generally, the point about better care for mentally challenged persons, mental health issues must be addressed, not just by community, not just by government departments, but also by government to take it seriously. And I delivered a lecture many years ago. We're trying to count the number of psychiatrists that are still in practice in this society. We don't have enough of them. Many of them have gone into politics. The ones that are not in politics are doing MC work, At a time, we didn't even have up to 100, trained, psychiatrists in the whole of Nigeria. That, again, is a challenge.
Yeah.
I think not everything has to be addressed on social media. I feel that if the minister had seen this, I wish she had rather reached out to the content creator and her mother and done the work behind the scenes and then brought it out as a redemption story. Because in essence, what she's done now, law of unintended consequences, is she's kind of encouraged more people to make more content like this because it's gotten her attention. We're here talking about it. So unintentionally, you're trying to condemn something, but in doing so, it ends up fueling more people to do it. And this is a big thing online. We do so, a lot of people, online is a marketplace. There's all sorts of people with all sorts of different agendas. Some are genuine, as you can see, this young lady, and you can see that her mom is genuinely in a state. And I'm glad they're coming in to help. I do just wish that there was a little bit more emotional intelligence around it, where they just approach the family, assess the situation, really, we're able to do an assessment of, is this truly a case of this young lady is trying to take advantage of her mother? Because based off of this video, we really can't tell, So I wish more of an investigation was done, then an intervention, and then now bring us the happily ever after story. Yeah. Tell us that this is what we did. This was the before. This is the after. And by the way, be responsible when you're dealing with your mentally ill loved ones on social media. I think that message would have resonated in a much more positive way.
Rufai.
I mean, I subscribe to what you said largely, but because we cannot tell if she's exploiting her mother. The question is, does her mother have mental illness? Yes, it shows. It's visible. Anyway, we've not tested. What I expected the minister, like you said rightly, to have done was reach out to the girl, call her within, and say, okay, what can we do? And Dr. Abati, you were very spot on as regards your point that we don't even have enough mental centers in this country. It's a very big problem. The cost of care for people. And the Lunacy Act, that act, we need to do something about it, because that act talks about the fact that once somebody has been seen to be mentally unstable, they should take all their property away from them and their livelihood. And you cannot have a society like that. And you see, all of us were dealing with one level of mental illness or the other. It's just a scale that is different. People are dealing with depression. People are dealing anxiety, with personality disorder.
PTSD.
A lot of people that you're seeing online have multiple personality disorder. They have PTSD. They have anxiety disorder. So it's just that you've not been diagnosed. There's nobody that has 100% mental acuity. So it's not to shame anybody. And I want to also make a reference. It's not exploiting the lady. Look at Celine Dion. Celine Dion released a film documentary about herself, and she was dealing with stiff person syndrome. And she decided to show an episode where she had a stiff person syndrome to be able to show the world what she was going through. What if this lady was just trying to show the state of her mother, to get support and empathy, and also to show the decadence of society in Nigeria, and even look at the condition of where she was staying? So I think we should be able to do something better for her. I think we should preach a society that cares more for the well-being of our people.
Definitely. All right, then let's go to our next story. With just 14 days left until the scheduled September 10 presidential debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, negotiations between their two campaigns have hit an impasse over whether the candidates' microphones will be muted when it is not their turn to speak. In June, President Joe Biden's campaign came to an agreement that microphones will be muted throughout the debate, except for the candidate whose turn it is to speak. But with Biden no longer running for president, Harris's campaign wants the microphones to be hot at all times, as historically been the case at presidential debates. Trump also took aim at what he called the Bias Network Sunday evening, complaining about reporter Jonathan Karl and a panel of Trump haters. And let's take a look and see what he said and come back and have this conversation.
When I looked at the hostility of that, I said, why am I doing it? Let's do it with another network. I want to do it. I won because of debates. Ask Biden. But I won because of debates. I want to do debates. But she, the head of ABC, is her comrade's best friend. You know that, right? They like husbands and the whole thing. What kind of a deal is that? I want to have a fair debate.
I know this story was touched on very briefly during the World Brief, but then the add-on on there is now Trump coming out to say that I might not even do the debate on APC. There's a panel of Trump haters. Dr. Obati.
Well, look, the controversy about the platform, there was an agreement. The first interview, the first debate, June 27. The second one, September 10 on ABC, when Biden was the candidate. Now, Kamala Harris is there. The Trump camp is saying agreement is an agreement. But the irony, as I pointed out earlier, was that in 2020, the same Trump, took part in a hot mic situation. But this time around, he's saying, well, that's not the agreement, and the agreement should be followed. His campaign is also saying that maybe Kamala Harris doesn't want to be part of the debate. But the truth is, Kamala Harris' team, they know who Trump is. They know that if you give him an open mic, he's likely to sabotage himself because you cannot restrain him. So that, from the point of view of strategy, that is it. As for the network, ABC, Trump is saying he prefers Fox News. And then on the other side, they are saying, oh, no, it's ABC that we agreed on initially. But I think in the interest of the American public, that debate should take place.
September
We would like
10th,
to see, Harris and Trump, and the audience will decide who is afraid of the other one and who is a better debater amongst them.
Yeah.
Of course, Trump is going about saying Kamala Harris is not a debater. She's not smart.
We'll see about that on September 10th. Unfortunately, I have to go to the next story, but I'll come back to you two to comment. Now, in more heartwarming news, Grammy-winning artist Burna Boy has unveiled the Burna Boy Football Academy in Nigeria, aiming to discover and nurture the country's next generation of football superstars. The academy, open to boys aged 4 to 16, boasts training centers in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt, offering world-class coaching and state-of-the-art facilities. In addition to the academy, Burna Boy has also introduced the Burna Boy Football Show, a reality TV series for players aged 18 to 21. The show provides a platform for young talents to get scouted by top European clubs, including Manchester City, Brighton, Tottenham Hotspur, and Leicester City. Let's take a quick look and come back and discuss. He's not just winning Grammys, he's actually investing back into the Nigeria's football.
Kudos to Burna Boy. That's the very future. Football will bring a lot of joy to this country. It's also a means of economic empowerment for a lot of people. The academy will definitely give them the opportunity to be able to be scouted abroad. And it's a big industry and it's a big ecosystem. And they feed back into the economy of this country. So it's a very good one. Real quickly as regards Trump, the very funny thing is, this is the Trump that used an open mic session to interrupt as much as possible Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election, even Joe Biden in the last elections. Guess what? Nobody is ever okay for Trump. This was the same Trump that is calling for Fox now. You remember how he abused Megyn Kelly because she asked him tough questions. He said she was bleeding from every part of the body, if my memory serves me right. Mm-hmm. So it's always about him in the end. And this is a reflection of who a narcissist is. And I'm shocked people can't see him for what he is. Harris, too, should please go and attend television interviews. She's talking too much, and that's not good for Harris. It's beginning to drive a lot of speculations.
Bimbai?
I know we've got to go. All I've got to say to Burna Boy is Odogu.
Odogu, silencer. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending today. See you tomorrow.